Good morning and welcome to Friday with the Rev. Should I say Friday with the Rev, take two. As some of you know, at our 8 o'clock broadcast, we had trouble with the sound using the computer, and then I tried it with the iPad, and somehow we were vertical instead of horizontal. So I've talked to some people, they've checked into the computer, we've shut it down and put it up again. So I'm going to try one more time. And if not, I'll have to have techs come in and take a careful look. But I welcome you. I'm Greg Johnson. I'm president and CEO of GJP International, Greg Johnson Partnerships. And this series of conversations has been begun as a result of my recent trip in Southeast Asia, where I had the privilege of meeting with people from many, many different countries discussing family caregiving, or carers as people are known. Now, I want to welcome you, and I thank you for joining with us, and I thank you for the many, many emails that I keep receiving from you with suggestions, with questions, and I look forward to that. And for those of you who may be just joining us for the first time, my two emails, and you can use either of them. One is gjohnson@emblemhealth, that's one word, gjohnson@emblemhealth.com. And if you're wanting any of our literature that Emblem Health has so brilliantly and generously allowed us to have, please be in contact with me. Also, at Marble Collegiate Church here in New York City, where I have the privilege of being on staff, my email there is gjohnson@marblechurch.org. And if you're in New York City, please join us at Prayer Circle on Sunday at 10 o'clock. And Wednesday, we also have a prayer circle at 11 o'clock. And you are welcome with very, very great love. We'd love to see you and have you be part of it. Now, before I begin the topic for this, the 10th broadcast, I want to spend one moment sharing something with you. We're getting ready for the holidays. You're starting to hear talk of it, and I'm not rushing the season. But I am offering a suggestion which can take some time to prepare for the holidays. If you're a family caregiver, or if you're working with family caregivers, or if you're both, which is often the case, the holidays are a time when the family does come together. And it becomes an opportunity for conversation, but we want to make certain that it's a positive conversation, that it's a conversation that brings about results for everyone. Now, you may feel that someone in your family or several persons in your family are not being supportive to you. To go after them with, you make me feel, or you really aren't doing your part, that never works. That only emboldens arguments. May I suggest a different path? And it's one that I have shared with many, many people, and I'm happy to say has been helpful. Be in contact with me and ask for either hard copies of Care for the Family Caregiver, A Place to Start, and that's in English, Spanish, and Chinese, or ask me for the PDF of it. Then take and email it, or send, if it's a hard copy, send it to the people with whom you're going to be spending the holidays. Simply say, I've met someone who's co-authored a book, or I've met someone on Facebook and I've been listening to them and I've written for this booklet and I've found it helpful. Take a look at it and then let's talk about it when we're together. This brings another person into the conversation, and it can very, very much help to bring about positive results and avoid expressed anger. Now, this morning, our topic is anger. And it's interesting. I have been basing these conversations, the last 9 of them and today, on the book that Reverend Marian Gambardella and I wrote, entitled Peace Be Still, Prayers and Affirmations for Family Caregivers. And in doing some notes in it these last couple of weeks, I suddenly noticed that I had skipped over anger, and I had to smile at having done that, because it's been a week that I've been feeling a great deal of anger, and I needed to go inside and continue to look at it. It's also probably the topic that I get asked most about, whether I'm counseling people down at Emblem, at the foundation, or I'm working with people at the church, particularly in caregiving situations with all the stresses in the world. And I really don't care where you live. Right now, we're facing a lot of challenges here in this country. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of negativity, and that cannot help but get into us. We need to look at that anger. And I'm going to talk about it personally, but I want to begin with this prayer. So will you join me, please? Today was not truly the success I had hoped for. Everything seemed to overwhelm me. I responded again and again in ways that I did not want. I kept feeling angry. What was it? Why? How come? As I pause and reflect, I come to God for guidance, knowing, oh God, that you have already forgiven me. Give me grace to do the same. For just a moment, that may be all I can muster. I sit quietly and take long, slow, deep breaths, renewing my spirit and love. I begin to be calm and centered. I begin to see the fear that is behind all my actions and reactions. Fear of being alone, fear of letting go, fear of accepting your will, for it is very different, strange, new, unfamiliar. When fear comes, I burst out in anger, expressed in many ways at others and myself. I respond in ways I do not want to act out. Oh, Father, Mother, God, thank you for this realization of my humanity, my brokenness, and my limitations. Heal me, strengthen me, and bless each person against whom I've raged, reacted, or behaved inappropriately. I am truly sorry. Help me to forgive myself. Help me to recenter myself in you and know your peace. Help me to grow through this day, through this behavior, and through this realization that it is fear that underlies so many of my emotions. This is not who you created me to be. Help me to hear your words, be not afraid, for I am your God and I will strengthen you. I know this is true. In rest, in peace, I give thanks for love, goodness, and serenity. O source of all peace, in God I trust. Amen and amen. Now, the prayer begins as if it were the end of the day, but I like to remind people we can start the day over anytime we want. And sometimes when it seems that it's just been too much, we need to stop and start over. Take a few deep breaths and begin again. And we can do that. So if you're reading this prayer at home, it can be read any time of the day. And now for the affirmations from Reverend Marion. These are some great ones. I cease to give my thought to the memory of unpleasant experiences of the past. And I cease to worry about my future and things that have not yet happened. Today is the only day to live and to enjoy all the blessings of God. I visualize my good manifesting now in the present. I let go of old thoughts and conditions and let God direct my life. From Joshua Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Such an important phrase. Fear. Fear at the base of so much anger. In 12-step work, we have two wonderful definitions for that acronym, FEAR. The negative, forget everything and run. And yes, there's a colloquial version. But the positive one, the one that we want to cling to, face everything and recover. Face everything and recover. Be re-strengthened, be re-centered. And we can do that when we look the fear in the face. Because underneath that anger is fear. Now, I told you that this last week, and this often happens when we pick a topic on which to speak. I know it's happened to many clergy, and I'm sure it's happened to many of you. When you're going to give a speech, you pick a topic, and then it seems it's everywhere in your life. Well, that was true for me. And I began to look at the anger that was manifesting in me, being very upset about a lot of things that were happening in the world, things that I can't do something about, but there are other things that I can do something about. And I needed to re-look at that. Well, one of the things I looked at was this wonder box called Facebook. Now, I believe that as Christians, as people of faith, we need to say that which is wrong and to state it. But we need to state it lovingly and kindly. And I began to look at my posts. And I saw that I kept pushing angry. And you know what? I became angry. So you know what I did? I sat diligently and changed each to sad. Because I'm very sad about lots of things that are happening. But being angry is only going to add more fear, is only going to block any consciousness of good. So think about it. Take a look at your posts. I hope mine will reflect that as well. What else did I do? I doubled up on my AA meetings, my support groups. That is so important, to realize we are not alone and we are walking together through. I spent more time in prayer, and I began looking at some new prayer books. As you know, I surround myself by many wonderful texts. I'm going to share some of those in a moment with you. And I spent more time just being still in meditation and spending time with God, in whom we live and move and have our being. God who is everywhere, in everyone, and in me, and in the anger, and in the problem. I needed to be careful that I didn't say, well, I'm going to put the problem over here, and now I'm going to think of God over here. God is everywhere, and I'm putting God right over that problem and asking his divine healing and understanding, so that if there's a lesson in it, I'll learn that lesson. If there is something that I can do, I'll take that action, but I will take it partnering with God of my understanding. Now, one of the great writers, one of the great preachers and teachers, he's passed now, but was Reverend Dr. Eric Butterworth. And he wrote an incredible book, Discover the Power Within You. Marion Gambardella was his associate for many years, Marion, who wrote the book with me. And Dr. Butterworth talks about golden key living, and that is, no matter what is happening, acknowledge it, see it, and surround it and you with the God who is within. And one of my daily readings had this to say, and I want to share this with you. It helped me, and I hope it may help you. When what seems an especially difficult problem or great emergency presents itself, many students of truth and understanding start by thinking, this is very serious, and then proceed to brace themselves mentally for a supreme effort and to plan to pray exceedingly hard in order to meet the difficulty. In truth, all of this is quite wrong. It simply builds up the problem into something far bigger than it was originally. The right attitude, the one that brings victory and help, is to think God can and will solve this problem. Instead of speaking the word from the low altitude of fear and limitation and trusting to effort to magnify the Lord, stop thinking of the problem altogether and rise in consciousness. Having now attained a higher level, speak the words gently from that level. God can and will solve that problem. You have no idea how often I have used that phrase as I have walked through the going through and the growing through. Now, I want to conclude this broadcast with a brief reading from another little booklet that I adore, Spiritual Truths, by the very famous Rabbi Joseph Gelberman. Rabbi Gelberman has been a source of inspiration and teaching to many, many people all over the world. I received this little booklet as a thank you gift from Rabbi Jill Hausman from the Actors Temple here in New York when I had the privilege of speaking for their 100th anniversary, right in the heart of the theater in show business time, the Actors Temple, a beautiful temple. And Rabbi Hausman gave me this book, which I read daily, and it travels with me. And today, the 19th, Resist Fear. Security can be defined spiritually as safety, and psychologically as our sense of self-worth. We are never inferior because goodness, a capital G, works on our behalf and is our heritage. If we observe the eternal plan as it manifests itself in law and nature, we need never fear the unknown or the unpredictable, nor any person's acts, nor the loss of any person's love. It is only our fear thoughts about these things and their imagined consequences that make us insecure. We are safe in the universe, no matter what consequences ensue, since we are a part of the divine plan. Our difficult experiences help us grow, and our disappointments can often become glorious appointments to meet our emotionally mature selves. May God bless you. May God keep you. And may you have a wonderful, wonderful week. Thank you for joining me. And I give thanks that it appears we've made it through this without any technological interference. Now I'm going to try and close the program. Thank you and God bless.